You are watching, listening, and enjoying Where My Prose At, movie edition today.
Hi guys, welcome back, or if it's your first time, welcome to our channel. My name is Lexi, and this here is my wonderful partner, Ken.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Today we are talking about the movie versions of True Grit. Now, if you're a longtime listener, enjoyer of our show, you will know that we have already covered the book by Charles Pontes.
Portis?
Yes. We've already covered the novel version, so we thought we'd cover the film version as well. Now, we are going to be talking about the infamous John Wayne version, as well as the more recent version with Jeff Bridges, aka The Dude. So,
that was weird.
The Dude.
It was weird when I realized, though. I was just like, that's the dude.
Well,
What's the dude doing here?
He's got, oh my
God.
God.
That was surprising.
Excellent actor. I don't think I've ever, not enjoyed something that he's in.
I know of two things, and I've enjoyed them both.
He was in Iron Man as well, wasn't he? I think he was the evil guy.
He was?
Yeah.
Stop blowing my mind with these facts.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was, yeah. Excellent actor. So I think we're secret Jeff Bridges fans.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Go, we're Bridgeheads.
That was cringy. So we read the book as we talked. We reviewed the book, and we enjoyed it. Right? It was a very well written book.
Yes, it's a very well written book. But one of the points I remember saying was that I think it lends itself better to movie because it is so minimalist.
You're coming from the perspective of somebody who watched the film first, right? You watched the most recent film first.
No, I watched both.
But which one did you watch first?
John Wayne version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you saw the John Wayne version first, and then you saw the more recent version, then you read the book.
Yes.
And then you rewatched the films.
Yes.
So watching in that order, I think, presents a different image in your mind when you're reading the book, right? Because when I read the book, I didn't think of any particular faces or similar. I just considered the book as is. I didn't have the imagery that you probably had when you were reading it.
Yeah. In some ways, I'm kind of glad that I watched the movie before I read the book because I was kind of able to enjoy the book more because I was able to kind of fill it in with this template that I already had. But I have to know. I have to know, which was your favorite version?
Oh, the modern version. I gotta say, the John Wayne version, it was fine. It was enjoyable. But the new version was just gritty and much more interesting. The characters, I felt like, had more depth. The musical score was better, in my opinion. Overall, everything was just better in the movie version, that version.
Now, I love John Wayne. Obviously, I'm American, so I think it's kind of a requisite that we have to say that we love John Wayne. I do love John Wayne, but I think the problem with John Wayne is that whenever I see him in a movie, I'm like, oh, that's John Wayne. That's not Rooster Cogburn. That's John Wayne. For me, John Wayne is a powerhouse, but he doesn't have range like Jeff Bridges does. Jeff Bridges is my Rooster Cogburn. I feel like the characters were vibrant. I feel like they understood in the more modern version, because that's my favorite version as well. It used to be the opposite, but I have to say, the Maddie in the John Wayne version annoyed me. She was insufferable, in my personal opinion.
Which, to be fair, is probably truer to the book. I mean, she was insufferable in the book as well.
Now, I've got business across the river, and if you interfere with me, you may land up in court, which you don't want to be. I've got a good lawyer in J. Noble Daggett.
No, I think the more modern version, where she was a bit more practical, less kind of whiny and feminine, and making Moon Eyes and Glenn Campbell. Summer nights.
That is different, yes.
Yeah, making Moon Eyes. They did not, I feel like they had to add in that little romance subplot, and I was just not into that.
It's creepy because she's 14.
Yeah, exactly.
And he actually says at the start of the film and the start of the book as well, both films and the book.
Yeah.
I was thinking about kissing you until you start getting mouthy.
Yeah, but Matt Dillon...
As if it's such a graceful, nice thing of him to offer. I was thinking about kissing you, young underage girl in bed whose room I broke into. What?
I feel like Matt Dillon did a good job as LaBeef, though, while we're speaking of LaBeef. Glenn Campbell, however, was also pretty good as well.
Yeah, they both did a good job.
Yeah, both did a good job. Yeah, but
still, the modern version of LaBeouf was more interesting.
Yeah, there was a bit more kind of, I think, layers to him. It felt like there was more layers rather than just, you know.
And let's talk about the fact that LaBeouf's storyline was modified pretty heavily in the more recent version, and yet we preferred that.
Yeah.
Which is very unusual. Generally speaking, when we review movies on this show about books, right, we tend to prefer the book version, right?
Yeah.
So we tend to, generally speaking, get mad when the movie version changes too much. Like, in general, I think that's a fair thing to say.
Yeah.
Admittedly, there has to innately be some changes, because producing a visual art versus a written one is entirely different, as we continually go on about.
It's a treat for someone who's read the book to see something that is a take on the book, but it still surprises for us, still something a bit different. You know, I just like that it is its own art form.
Yes.
The stuff that they added into the new one, oh my goodness, like that crazy doctor in the bearskin. Oh
Yes.
my god, I love that.
Yeah.
He
was great.
It felt like a whole world. You felt like you were in this western Arkansas territory, and it felt real. And when she got bit by the rattlesnakes, you were scared. I cried when Blackie
got exhausted.
Yeah, got exhausted. It created this entire world. It had something different to say. It obviously had love for this original source material, and it's a hard thing to do because I don't think you quite understand. But John Wayne, and True Grit especially, that's one of the films he's most known for. It has a soft spot in our hearts as Americans, so it's a titan to take on. And I think they nailed it.
I agree.
Nailed it.
Again, I can't go from the perspective of the American viewpoint, but I generally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the additions of new scenes, new plot lines, and even changing the main plot line, I think that's okay to do, so long as you stick with the core themes. And for example, when we were talking about Lolita previously in a previous show, we were talking about how there were some changes that were just weird, right?
Because they didn't understand the source material.
They did.
Not just reverence for it. If you understand the themes, if you truly understand the book, you're going to be able to be like, okay, this is what I can include. This is what I can have a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah. It's the story and the takeaways. The story matters a little bit less than the takeaways. So long as you're selling the same overall points, you're okay in our books. That's generally what we're saying, right? Yeah. It's when you modify something that changes the takeaway that makes it no longer the source material.
I have to say, I was quite upset actually about one change that they made in the modern version. I don't know why they did this. I felt like it was a really important character, and he just wasn't there. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No idea.
The general! Where was the cat? He wasn't there.
Trust.
He was in the book, and he was in John Wayne.
The lady with the online nomiker of kitten features to be upset about the missing cat.
He was the linchpin holding it all together. No, I mean,
does he actually remove? I don't even remember.
He wasn't in the book. I was looking for him. I have a spreadsheet of all like cat related data, and
in her mind.
In my mind. And he wasn't there, and I was kind of disappointed in that. But it's still aside from that, it was great. I think it was pretty flawless execution of True Grit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the sound score in the most recent version, like I said before, I felt the first one, because of the era that it was in, had these sweeping, overly loud overtures, which were just like painful to your ears. I get it, that was the era, that was the time, and it's still fine, but you just need to sort of play with your volume throughout the film to make it work.
Very uneven.
Yeah, whereas the more recent version, it had a beautiful score. It was really appropriate, and it was subtle the way it should be.
Another thing about the John Wayne version that I did grow up with this film. I love this film, but I forgot how much I actually don't enjoy the ending. This kind of saccharine, sugar sweet ending, and it took away.
Big difference.
It took away this kind of blunt realism of the book.
I'm really glad you brought that up.
Yeah, and I understand why they did it. It's because John Wayne is a huge name. He's a family name. He has a lot to answer for with a certain like political movements. Like he very family first kind of like crowd that likes John Wayne, and that's fine. That's fair enough. So I understand why, because they knew families were going to go and see this. It would be quite upsetting, to have this character that you love, and if you absolutely love John Wayne and have him die tragically, not tragically, but
it was pretty tragic. His life was tragic.
A mundane tragic. It was a mundane tragedy. Oh, you just missed him by 3 days. Yeah.
But that's also why I preferred the modern version, because it stuck to the core material in that sense, and that was an important takeaway, because I don't like books that end with happily ever after, because it's not real. It was
a snapshot of this adventure, this very realistic adventure that could have happened in real life. It sounds like a real life account, and that's the thing about life, is that it is sometimes sad, and the heroes don't always get to come home and have the feasts, and you lose touch with people even if they've had a huge impact on your life, and that's just the way life is. So I was disappointed in that. I understand why they did it, but I was disappointed. I was disappointed also in the addition of the kind of the cow eyes that Maddie was supposed to be giving to Glenn Campbell. That was, but Glenn Campbell though, Southern Nights, great song.
I do feel like the change at the end of the second film and the first film, the differences between them really made, for me personally, made a key difference in how much I enjoyed them. Because if I feel like there's a realistic ending, I feel like the film is more realistic in general, right? And plus that source material really fit to the characters that were portrayed throughout the book.
It was, it made sense.
Yeah.
It fit the theme of the book.
It fit the theme. It fit the story points.
Blunt, mundane reality of life.
And sad. A harsh, sad reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and I understand why they did it, but it definitely took away my enjoyment of that as well. I mean, we actually did break it up into 2 nights where we stopped, and it was kind of hard to pick it back up again, to be honest, the film. But the more recent version, I think we watched that in one go.
Yeah, we just went straight through.
We just went straight through it because every scene was enjoyable. Everything made sense, and reading the book as well, you had this fresh appreciation for it. I would say my recommendation would be watch the John Wayne version if you want. It is a part of Americana. It is a piece of American history. However, my ideal would be to read the book and then watch the Jeff Bridges version, because I think those go perfectly together. I'd
say the book's fine and enjoyable, and this is something that's kind of heinous in my viewpoint of the world and go opposite to what I normally believe. Just watch the newest film. Don't even bother reading the book. Honestly, you get everything that you want from that and more. It covered all the bases. The book, now looking back, the book feels like a script that was written for the movie, missing some details and missing all the imagery and missing all the audio.
Do you see because I read the book after I saw that film, that was one of my points when we were talking about it. Like, you see where I was coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so let's drop this bombshell, which is, I think we both preferred the film over the book.
Absolutely. The film was excellent. It was... the costumes were great. The casting was excellent. The dialogue was
very
funny.
Good. We were laughing throughout, but even though it wasn't a comedy, there was just lots of good scenes that were just laughable.
And that's kind of hard, because one of the really good things about the John Wayne film is that John Wayne can deliver a line in his signature way, and there was a few times we were chuckling. Yeah. Just and that's a powerhouse to kind of take on. But
much more so with the more recent version, though.
Fantastic.
That's the one I was more referring to with laughing throughout.
Excellent. Yeah. I know a lot of people were upset, actually. I remember when this film came out, that there was a lot of people who were upset about trying to take on the John Wayne classic, but I think they just surpassed themselves. They knew that it was a tricky thing that they were doing, but you could tell that it was done with love and care and humor, black humor. That's exactly what the book's all about, and that they nailed it.
Yeah, doing a Western in modern times is hard.
Yeah,
it's very hard.
But there are actually I'm not a big Western person. Well, actually, I say that, but I think I might.
I think you might actually be.
I might actually be a little bit of a Western person. I do like Westerns. There are a lot of good kind of modern Westerns that take the kind of that harsh frontier reality, and it's a pleasure to see on screen. And I think this is the king of them.
What's your final rating of each movie?
Okay, so the John Wayne version, just because it has a special place in my heart, I would give it a 3. I think watching it again, it's hardly anything to comment on. But I was really annoyed with Maddie and LaBeef's cow eyes at each other. Like
it's just wrong.
And the saccharine ending. Yep. I get it. I understand it. I don't think they could have done it any differently, but I get it. So it's a 3 for me.
I disagree with that, but that's okay. I will give it a 3 on my personal rating. I think in history it probably goes up to a 5. Like, I think that's what people would generally say. I think we're kind of the anomalies in that sense. But from our generation, our perspective, I would give it 3 stars. The more recent version, I'd give 4 stars, which means good in my books. I enjoyed it. It wasn't one of my favorite films of all time, but it was good. And I preferred. So I would say the more recent version, then the book, then the original movie for my order of preference.
That's my order as well. Now I'm kind of waffling between a 4 and a 5. I think it's probably definitely one of my top 20 favorite movies. Not top 10, not top 5, but it's definitely in the top 20. So 4.5 for me.
All right.
Yeah, I think I'm comfortable with that.
I'm going to just show 4 stars on the screen because I'm lazy.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I keep doing this to you.
Yes, you do. You keep making my life.
4 stars.
Oh, yes.
4.6732. We know it's 4.5. We know.
You have been watching, listening, and enjoying Where My Prose At here on the Versus the World Video YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us today. Be sure to like and subscribe. That really helps us out, and it's so easy to do. And drop a comment. Just say, like, nice video, something like that. That would be great. We appreciate it. But also, if you want to give more your thoughts, your perspectives, or you want to provide any feedback on how we present and how we edit the show and so on, all is very much welcome. We're always trying to improve.
Yeah, all that. Or you could comment and tell me what your favorite modern Western is as well. I think that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I give me some suggestions, guys. I'd love to hear your suggestions.
Fine. You can check us out all over the interwebs, but instead of us listing to you our Instagram, our Reddit, our Goodreads, our Twitter, and yada yada yada, all individually, well, instead of giving the URLs for each, which would take forever, what we can do instead is just give you one web address to find all of those.
linktr.ee/wheremyprose.
There we go. linktr.ee/wheremyprose. You're getting better. Check it out there for all the aforementioned stuff, and we very much appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for watching our videos. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much for being here today. Really appreciate it as well. Bye.
Bye.